So if I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little bit cooked today from the pains, from the sunburns to my whole foot situation. My foot has a little bit of pain. I'm a little bit messed up today, but still, I'm gonna take the time to give you a very interesting, important lesson. I'm gonna get a little bit deeper today. Today is going to be a real biblical lesson. It's from the words of Jesus Christ. It is something that to me it's actually really interesting. It's something that perhaps is looked over. It's not one of like the super popular verses. You kind of got to dig a little bit deeper to find this verse, but it really talks a lot. It says a lot about kind of the way of the world. It kind of points to the truth of the word of God. So, I'm just going to get straight into it, even if, forgive me if I'm a little bit kind of messed up just because I'm kind of having to push through here to get this episode out. But that's life. You gotta go, and if you're gonna be consistent with something, you gotta do it, even when you're not really feeling up for it. But let's get right into it. Let's get started. So the verse in question is Luke chapter 12, verse 48. And Jesus is telling a parable to his disciples, and then kind of nearing the end of the parable, he says in the second half of verse 48, "From everyone to whom much is given, much more will be demanded. And from the one who is entrusted much, much more will be asked." So this is a very interesting topic because it really points to the way the world works. Let's just give the easy, obvious example of finances and riches and like monetary success, let's say. Everyone kind of who doesn't have that, they think they want it, right? But then a lot of rich people, they talk about how many things they actually have to go and deal with. Like, you go and you look at all of the famous people that kind of have a lot of money. It's like, there's a lot of stress that comes with having a lot of money. There's a lot of stress with running a successful business, for example. If you're okay with those problems, then go for it, right? But if you know that, like, those problems are a lot to handle and you don't really want to put yourself through it, that's why some people say entrepreneurship's not for everyone, for example, right? Not everyone is meant to get rich. But this verse, it's like it's a biblical teaching that ties into an actual real practical teaching of the world. It's like if you are given a lot of things, much more will be required of you. There will be much more that is demanded of you. So if you have a lot of money, for example, I'm just using that as an example, but it could be really anything. There's going to be more problems. You're going to have different problems to what you have when you don't have money, but there will be more problems. There will be more issues, more things you're going to have to deal with. Versus if you're just kind of content with what you have, right? You're okay with like a solid level of living, right? But this teaching is like for the people that really like, let's say greed, right? Greed is a sin. Let's just kind of look at it like that, where it's like you want more, right? You want more and more and more for yourself type of thing. But you need to be aware of the fact that the more you have, the more will be required of you, the more will be demanded of you, the more will be asked of you. And it's like, are you willing to take on that pressure? Are you willing to take on those things, or you don't really want to, right? It's never going to be easy. For some people, maybe they think it's easy. And that's why they're like, yeah, I just want to have a lot of money. I just want to make it rich. But actually, they're like, I just want to start a business on a limb, right? But reality is, it's a very difficult process. And it requires a lot of your time. It requires most of your days, late nights. It requires a lot of grind. It requires a lot of years of failure before you actually make it. And then when you get there, there's just more and more pressure, more and more stress, risks of losing it all. You might lose it all, and you might have to come back from it. There's many stories of people who teach business and finance who lost it all and had to make it back again, but were able to because they had the right mindset going into it. The point is, it's like Jesus knows this, and of course, this is like a very biblical principle. So that is why he says this, and it's very, very interesting to me because it just kind of is like a small verse in the middle of a bigger meaning. So you could honestly just read over this verse and not really understand the true significance of what he's saying and just how true the verse is. And also kind of downstream from it, the second half, which is the person who is entrusted with much, much more will be asked. It's similar to the fact that like if you have more things, you have more problems, you have more things you have to deal with, there's more pressure on you. But it's like if you're going to be, it's another thing where it's like if you're gonna be the type of person that like always wants to help people, like for example, let's keep the theme of money and business and that kind of stuff. If you make money and then you have the inevitable like family members wanting loans and stuff from you, wanting you to give them some of your money, share it with them. it's all good and dandy to be generous and share your wealth with the people around you, but sometimes those people can take advantage of you, and that's true, right? So if you're going to be the type of guy to always just give the money away, eventually someone will take advantage of you, and that will hurt you, right? So if you are entrusted with something, you will be asked of even more. So if you're entrusted with money, let's just say like God has entrusted you with great wealth, there's a lot on your plate, and there's going to be a lot that is required of you to do with that money. Not just have it for yourself, right? And be wary of people that might take advantage of you, but at the same time you want to give it in abundance and share it with the people around you and help the world in the ways that you can with your money. Don't just take it and use it for yourself. Not only will that be not fulfilling, not fruitful at all, of course that is going against God's teaching, it's going against what he wants from you. If you have been entrusted with riches, if you've been blessed, like even if you worked hard for it, if you've been blessed with good amount of finances, a good amount of wealth, it is going to be asked of you to use it in the right way. Right, and you're going to have to go through the problems, which of course is a part of the verse, it's a part of the teaching. You're going to have to go through the problems that it brings, but at the same time, you're going to have to know who to trust, who not to trust. You're going to have to be careful with your money, but also be able to use it for good rather than just taking it all for yourself. That's like the main point of the teaching. Is like you have to ask yourself the question, right? If you want to start a business, you want to do these types of things, you want to make it rich. Ask yourself, are you willing to go through the stresses and the problems and the hours and the late nights that come with it? And if the answer is no, then just try and focus on something else, right? Try and focus on like an actual career, a job, whatever the thing may be. Find something that you can actually go and do that will be fruitful for you, that you will enjoy, and that you're okay with the trade-offs and with the benefits, the pros and cons with, rather than a lot of the stuff with business. Business, like especially in the internet, it is like a very popular thing. Like I kind of dabbled my toes a little bit in it. The point is, it takes more than just like a couple hours a day. If you're going to be successful, it is like it needs to be the thing you do. And it needs to be the thing that you spend 10 plus hours a day working on. Late nights, trying to get it done, sales, all that kind of stuff, right? Every aspect of business, you need to be working on it all day. And you might have to go through many, many years of failures and of trial and error before you actually make it somewhere. So it's like the question is, and kind of the truth that Jesus is sharing is, are you willing to go through all that? You're willing to go through all that, right? If you're going to be entrusted with this, if God is going to trust you with wealth, he needs to know that you are the person that is capable of keeping it. He needs to know that you're the person that is capable of going through all of that and coming out the other side of it with something good. It'll be beneficial for you, but there will still be problems you have to deal with. There will still be challenges you have to overcome. You'll still have to know how to walk the line. And there's still gonna be much more required of you, much more demanded of you, much more pressure put on your shoulders with that wealth. So I'm just giving an example of money. It can apply to really anything, but money is obviously the most obvious thing. And I feel like maybe Jesus, when he's talking about this parable, it is kind of referring in mostly to riches and actual physical material wealth. If you're going to be entrusted with it, if God is going to trust you with it, if you are going to be successful, you need to know that those are the trade-offs you're going to have to deal with, right? It's not going to be just an easy walk, an easy line. And if you make it there, you're going to have to change. There's going to be a lot of differences that you're going to have to go through in your life. There's going to be a lot of different feelings. There's going to be a lot of setbacks, as I've already tried my best to illustrate. But I just find it so beautiful, so amazing that the Bible has such amazing truth, that this is just one small, tiny verse out of a bigger segment that Jesus was talking about, and it had just such a big nugget of wisdom and truth, and it was just a sentence or two, right? It was honestly so cool, and that's why I read the Bible. That's why I try and develop my relationship with God, because I recognize the truth that is within it. I really like every time on this show that I've gone through certain Bible verses, I've really tried my best to only go through like throughout the show, like just the ones that really sit the deepest with me, the ones that really kind of make the most sense to me in my life, and the ones that hit me the most. And that's what I've been trying to do, and I think this keeps the theme consistent, but it's like there's so much in there. Like there is so much wisdom in the Bible that even in like a chapter which you wouldn't even think something like that would come up, this is like, you just can't really argue with that fact, that is a truth of the world, that more will be required of you if you have more in the world. And I think that is just so true. You cannot dispute that. You cannot argue that. So I think that points to the truth of it all. That points to the truth of the entire belief system that we have as Christians, and that only makes me want to develop my faith, develop my relationship with God, read His holy word even more when I realize, yeah, that's the truth. So to kind of wrap up this little reflection, you just have to ask yourself the question, right? It doesn't have to be money based. It can be absolutely anything in your life. But the more you have, the more is going to be demanded of you, and the more you are entrusted with, the more you're going to be asked. So you need to understand that it's like God is giving you something. God is giving you a tool. He's giving you a pathway. He's giving you something. Are you need to ask yourself the questions like, are you willing to go through the trade-offs, go through the struggles, go through the failures, go through the pains to get to that thing that you maybe want, but maybe aren't even sure if you really want? Are you willing to go through that? Or are you not so sure, right? Are you confident in your abilities to maintain a level of success that you go and reach and deal with the problems that are inevitable when you get to a higher level, when you get more and more things in this world? Are you willing to go through it? Do you have confidence in yourself that you'll be able to go through it, to make it through it and overcome it? If not, maybe you should think twice. But I think I don't want to like deter you from entrepreneurship, from running a business, from any of that type of stuff. I think that stuff is very good. I think we need that. But what I think is maybe the problem on this online internet sphere is because that's kind of what everyone's talking about. It's kind of what like everyone kind of wants to do. But like it really isn't cut out for everybody. You're not really able to just make a website, send out a bunch of cold emails, and just start a marketing firm or make a product or whatever. You need to actually, like, you need to know what you're doing type of thing. You need to have that business lens. You need to have that kind of drive and desire and that willingness to overcome adversity to really do it. It really isn't for everyone. It really isn't for everyone. And I think like you shouldn't feel shameful if you don't want to do entrepreneurship. And I don't want this video at the same time to deter you away from it. If you have a good idea that you think can help many people, you have a good idea that you want to launch, that you want to see if it works, I think you should try it. And I think you'll learn many great lessons from it. But just keep this kind of, if it's going to be the Bible verse that I just was talking about today, keep that at the back of your mind. Or just keep that like kind of practical wisdom at the back of your mind that there's only trade-offs in life, right? You're not going to make it big and then you can just chill, right? There's really no such thing as the only working 2 hours a day and then making a lot of money and just getting to have like financial freedom and time to do whatever you want. If you have a business, especially if it's a successful business, there's just a lot of stresses, right? Even if you're on vacation, you'll get a call from your employee or something like that saying something went wrong. You're going to have to deal with it. Or someone can't fill in a certain shift and you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to find someone or you're going to have to do it yourself. I've seen that happen, and like in my life, in my own experiences, I've seen that happen, and I've seen just how stressful it can really be. So think about it, right? If you want to start a business, you want to make that money, go for it. Go for it. But you need to know what you're running into, right? You don't want to be naive and think it's going to be an easy ride. It's not going to be. And Jesus himself knows that. That's why he says this very, very intense but very real truth and piece of wisdom that you need to understand what you're going through. So whether it is business, whether it is money making, trying to make it rich, that financial freedom type of thing, or if it is really any other pursuit, any other thing you're dealing with in your life, obviously money and riches is the easiest thing to relate to. That's why Jesus is relating it to that. But for really anything, you need to know that there are only trade-offs. You're not going to just be able to walk in and have it be 100% easy. I'll give another example, right? Let's use sports, right? You're not going to start a sport and instantly be talented and instantly make it pro, right? That's not how it works. You need to put in the time and the hours and the effort and the repetitions and the boring repetitions of just doing the same thing over and over and over again until you get it right, until you actually build that foundation within you, build those motor skills, build that actual talent within you, that confidence as well within you. And then eventually, if you keep going, you'll have the chance of making it pro. But if you're going to start a new sport, for example, you're not going to do it and you're not going to instantly be good at it. You're going to have to go through the difficulties to actually get to that point where you're good. And when you're good, there'll be new pressures, new things that you'll have to deal with, new challenges to overcome, and probably even more difficult challenges to overcome. Like if you make it to the pro leagues, for example, there is the pressure that comes with you being in a stadium thousands and hundreds of thousands of times of fans watching you, and it can be pressure, right? So there's another problem that you got to solve, and there's more that is going to be required and demanded of you from a mental perspective. You're going to truly need all of yourself and then some to overcome the new challenges. That's maybe a smaller example, but really, whatever you're doing in your life, you need to know that if you're going for it, you're going big. The bigger you get, the more will be required of you. The more you achieve, the more problems you're going to have. And if you're all right with that, if you know that that's going to be the case, but you still want that success in some regard, you still want that extraordinary life, go for it. And I'm absolutely encouraging it, honestly, in my life. That's what I'm trying to do in my life. But you need to understand, and I guess we all need to understand that, and that's why Jesus says it, is because we all need to understand that there will be difficulties, there will be more required of us, more demanded, more asked of us, the more God entrusts with us. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Whenever you're pursuing something big, whenever you're starting a business, whenever you're trying to make money, or whenever you're trying to do something that is going to require a lot out of you. Keep that in mind, and I encourage you to go full gung-ho, full blast towards your goals. And even if you do fail, you'll learn great lessons from it. So this was a very good lesson. This is a very good teaching, very good Bible verse that I just wanted to share with you guys because it honestly is something very interesting and really, really true when it comes to just the whole way the world works. So that's really all I got to say for today. That's kind of my little reflection. So ask yourself these questions, ponder these ideas, and then if you're willing to go for the thing and you know what difficulties you're going to have to overcome, go for it. Don't even think twice. Once you've figured out what you want to do, go for it. Do it. Make it happen. And I truly will encourage that on this show. That's kind of the mindset I want to have on this show. I'm not trying to deter you from it, move you away from it. Go for it. Do it. So that's all I got to say for today. Thank you for watching this episode of the 365 Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was a good reflection. I hope you learned something. And I hope you have at least a little bit of a better idea as to what to expect when it comes to your big pursuits, when it comes to the things you're dealing with. And hopefully you can maybe make a plan for yourself to truly live a good life, to truly find that fulfillment in your days, and to truly achieve that success and overcome those difficulties. I want the best for all of you, and I hope that you guys go and do it. So I appreciate you for being here. As always, show your support in every way that you can by liking the video, by subscribing to the show on YouTube, following on Spotify if you haven't done that yet. I appreciate you for watching. Thank you for being here. As always, continue to glorify God every day throughout your life. I hope you enjoyed this Bible verse reflection and just me talking about the words of God and how it relates to this world and how it relates to all of our lives. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I did a good job. Please let me know if I did do a good job. What could I improve? What could I improve on in this reflection? Please let me know as well. Thank you for watching. I'm going to wrap it up now. I'm going to stop my rambling, if you will. As always, I'll see you tomorrow for the next episode.